Welcome back. Now the conclusion of part 2 of this episode.
Well, it's a scary step. I mean, I fulfilled my contract and I knew my contract was over. I didn't have anything else lined up. I just, I was still really lost about what I wanted to do. I was consulting and helping other brands and other companies with their visions, but the problem is it was not my company. Yeah. And, there's a certain level of trust that people have to have. And at the end of the day, because it's not my company, it's not my vision, it's out of my hands. I can only do what I can do. And so I never had as much passion.
You were the CEO?
Of doing consulting.
Oh, the consulting.
No,
okay.
within Titan, it definitely had its limitations. And I know I was a big breath of fresh air, and I know they were sorry to see me go. And I had certain visions for the company, but like I said, somebody else built the company, and I was coming in, and it wasn't a good fit. So in helping other brands, I was really lost. I really had no idea. Like, I had a lot of nights of just crying, thinking, what am I going to do?
You just read my mind right now, because as I stated in the last few weeks, I've had some doubtfulness about myself. And one thing that you definitely wanted to talk about is believing and trusting yourself and your instincts. As a woman in America, I don't care what color skin you are. We're women. Yeah. We're still considered, in some people, second-class citizens as a woman. You are incredibly creative, and you started this Rocket Republic, and you left Titan Industries. When you felt alone, how did you wake up in the morning? You have this gorgeous baby. Of course, that's your inspiration.
Right.
But you're a creative person, and you're used to working for yourself. How did you wake up in the morning and say, let's do this again, Andrea?
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I redid my mom's house. I redid my house.
You procrastinated.
I totally procrastinated. I would redesign this. I would redesign that. You've seen I made a really beautiful desk. I made a beautiful this. I mean, I had a dog closet with that matched and all the turquoises for the dogs. I took out all my creative energies within my house. And I was fortunate that I didn't have to necessarily go straight into another type of a job, but I knew I needed to do something, and I needed a passion. And a friend of mine had said to me, hey, why don't you just make some bathing suits? We were in Cabo, and we were all complaining about how our bathing suits fit. Some of us were a little bustier, and this didn't fit right here. And my friend said, God, why don't you make a bathing suit line? And I was like, no way. I didn't want to get basically married, and so invested in another brand, another company. I didn't think I could balance between having a child, because I know how consuming it is, But I kept hearing it over and over and over in my head.
Bathing suit line?
Why don't you start a bathing suit line? Why don't you start a bathing suit line?
Was it coming to you? Like
in my head,
showing up?
Yeah, and a friend of mine was a manufacturer, and he wanted to do some things together. So I thought, well, gosh, you know what? Here's somebody who wants to do it. Here's somebody who can do it. It's a different way of working. Let's try it.
But you threw away your Rolodex, you said, after Rocket Republic.
I did.
So how did you keep your contacts?
I didn't. It was different contacts, really. I mean, there's a bunch of people that are still in my phone. I don't even know what they are, but but, also too, the names of the players have all changed, and and by doing Titan, and I was doing a lot of public speaking too. I flew to Dubai, and I did I spoke there. In New York, I spoke there. So, I mean, I was still doing things peripherally,
Were you speaking on fashion topics?
I was speaking on fashion or branding.
Branding? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and trying to, especially at that time, how to make retail more interesting. And a lot
with all the online shopping, how do you bring more brick and mortar presence and
stuff? Exactly. Making things more interactive in the stores,
Did
destinations.
you enjoy the public speaking?
I love public speaking. Actually, it was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like sharing what I've learned. I would like to be more articulate and be able to tell a story quicker, more compelling. But I think public speaking I like to hear people's stories, so
me too.
I enjoy telling stories too.
Yeah.
And I heard a woman speak, and I asked her one day, I said, how do you juggle with the kids? I live out in suburbia now. Commuting is everything. So
yeah, that's true. Speaking of that, when you were in Titan Industries, was in Orange County, right?
Yeah,
so you were commuting from Calabasas to Orange County.
Yeah,
wow,
kill me with that commute.
Yeah,
I
was doing that 4 days a week. But I will say that I did avoid the traffic. I was able to set my own hours, and I kind of it sounds weird, but it wasn't as bad as you would think because most of it was driving.
Yes.
If it's just the stop and go, about half an hour was about stop and go, and the next hour was just driving.
Right.
So I would
make
catch
calls?
up on phone calls.
roll your calls.
So I got a lot of work done before I even got to the office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or I listened to a lot of books on tape, and I seemed to amuse myself somehow.
Books on tape, not podcasts.
Well, this was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
that's right.
Podcast now.
Podcast
Things change. Things change. So yes, I would
right.
have been listening to you.
Well, honey.
Okay.
Well, we'll see that in the next 5 years.
So going back to Swiminista, I kept having this calling, if you will, of trying to make something great, and I knew I wasn't going to bite off. I was kind of gun shy from Rock and Republic, but I thought to myself, I'm not going to build this massive company, in swimwear. I want to build a nice, healthy, great company. I don't have massive aspirations to do $100 million. I mean, even at Rock, I said, God, can't we just do $30 million and just be a happy small company,
Can we just do $30 million,
right?
just chump change.
And my partner's like, no, we're going to do $1 billion, it was crazy. So I had to kind of get over the fact, my PTSD from Rock and Republic, to understand this is something that I could do my way.
Good for you.
So it's still very scary. I still get my stomach aches. I still get stressed, and I still have to deal with all these people. And the world is a lot different now. Back when we started Rock, I got a showroom and people went to the shows. Now there's all these online methods to do things and technical things that, because the buyers aren't traveling as much. So
you
a lot of the
influencers your stuff, and they wear them. And
I remember when bloggers were laughed at fashion shows and not even
sure.
allowed.
Isn't that
Okay, and now they're all that.
They have top seats at the fashion shows.
They are front row, So
Social
a lot of things have
influencers.
changed, but what I set out to do was what I'm doing, I'm making swimsuits so that women can feel better about being in a swimsuit and things that fit better. And I want women to be happy. And I think by giving back to the environment and using recycled products, I was raised recycling. I thought we were poor growing up because we recycled. I didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't understand it at the time. We had newspapers and all these things, and we'd load up the station wagon. Plastic. Well, plastic, it wasn't as big then as it was glass bottles.
Okay.
Dating myself. And we would go to the recycling center, and my mom would make us turn off the lights to save electricity. But it was all for the environment, and so it's always been with me. So to be able to find fabrics that are beautiful and
let's talk about it. Let's talk about the true vision. I'm looking at your proposed fall 2019 July-December line.
Yes.
And talk about, this is a podcast, so we got to be descriptive, as much as descriptive as you possibly be. I'm seeing 2 pieces. I've seen some 1 pieces. What is the true vision for this year's line?
Well, every piece has a purpose.
Okay.
Every piece can be adjusted so that you can get a better fit. I mean, so many times you put a bathing suit on and you grab it and you think, oh, I wish it was just, you could, make it tighter here or make it looser here or move this around. So every piece has a purpose, and that's the premise of it. And then I've done some fun colors. I've done some prints that I've designed on my own. Even if it's just the stripe, I've designed the stripe.
It's cute.
The paint fabric, I don't know if that one's there. It looks like different colors. It's bright. No, it's probably further back. Anyway,
I love that blue.
The blue is really great. I wanted to make classic pieces. I wanted to make pieces that you know and love, and then when you go online, you know that fit. You know it's going to be great, and then you just buy a different color.
That's scary. Come on, let's be
I would
honest.
do the onesie in that.
I'm a big girl, and I get nervous buying clothes online.
Yeah.
And, obviously, you're going to have a return policy, but it's bathing suits. It's a little touch and go with bathing suits because people got to try it on, and, you might get some interesting odors when you get it back, whatever.
It's very personal.
It's very personal, bathing suits.
Anything that doesn't come back in good condition is not going to be ever resold.
Right.
And there's always the things inside of them.
Hello.
And all those goodies.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Critters.
critters. So far so good. Knock on wood. Where's some wood?
Yeah, some wood here.
Okay.
Knock on that.
So I've noticed that you've named each designer, each piece, some very positive words: spirited, delightful, cheerful, hope, grateful, bold, pride.
Yes, I
Why?
wanted to, because I wanted the names to be positive. Even if somebody didn't know the name, that there's some, there's a grateful top. That's my favorite. I'm grateful that it holds in my boobs and makes me look good. I just want the good juju and the positivity to be in all the suits. And when people are saying names, it's really it's fun, and it's encouraging in my opinion, to have pride or be daring, or it's be
sassy. That's me right there.
Sassy and
clever.
Yeah. So they're.
I think, and so I'm looking at, what is this one called? This fabric is gorgeous.
That print was, thank you. I designed that print myself. That one took quite some time.
So explain to the listeners what I'm looking at.
Well, she's looking at a print. It was taken from like a vintage Hermes scarf that I had, and I recolored and so it's a scarf print, and it's very beautiful. It's very rich looking. It's the colors in it then incorporate back into the solid colors like the red. Then I match it with the reds and the blues. Everything works back with solids as well.
I'm loving the belted look here in one of them.
Yeah, so you can make it tighter around your waist to
give you a shape.
To give you shape.
Give you an hourglass shape.
And then actually this has built-in cups.
Okay.
Built-in underwires, so
for
it gives you
lift. For the people with the A's, the A cup sisters.
The A cup sisters, and also when you're bigger, it gives you extra support.
Absolutely, we need that because we don't like the back fat.
No.
So if we can minimize back fat, it's even a plus. Big plus for us.
May I see the inspired Hermes scarf?
Okay, absolutely.
Because I have a question about how you deal with that exact inspiration coming from an Hermes scarf.
Well, I changed it.
Iconic scarf.
And
so you changed it.
I just took elements, and that's probably the 10th revision that you see, but the inspiration was this vintage.
Yeah, and you made it your own. It's just it's very beautiful. It's
Thank you so much.
I see that inspiration in it, but it also
has a classic vibe to it.
Yeah,
it does.
I love that print.
Why the name
beautiful.
Swiminista? Swiminista.
Swiminista.
Why the
for
name
the fashionista?
For the fashionista.
I wanted something. It was really hard. It was funny because when I consulted for other brands, it was really easy for me to, pick out their logos and do their graphics and get their name and all these things. But then when it came to myself, all of a sudden I became completely blind, deaf, mute. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 3 different graphic artists trying to get my logo. I just couldn't get out of my own way. And I was trying to think of something that sounded familiar to people, fashionista. I wanted it to be something that was timeless, Swiminista. It's not indicative of any time frame pretty much. And it has swim in it, so you know what it is.
Correct.
And a lot of swim brands I found, they have these interesting names of indigenous places that they come from. A lot of brands I can't pronounce. Mm-hmm. And I wanted something that you could pronounce.
Right. It's instantly recognizable.
Yeah, there's a familiarity about it because of Swiminista, fashionista. But I'm not infringing on anybody's trademarks or anything like that. And there's a fashion element to it.
Yes, there is.
So,
how long has this concept been actually created for you? A year? Has it been a year?
Well, in my brain.
Literally on paper, and you have a...
Well, it's been a few years, actually, because I was trying to get my manufacturing done in Los Angeles. Correct. And I found that to be impossible.
Why?
It is impossible,
It was absolutely impossible.
Too expensive?
Mm-hmm.
No, I couldn't even get anybody to make my things. That suit that you just saw with the belt there, that probably went through 10 different pattern makers. It's not a priority to them. It's a lot of work.
Swimsuits?
Well, no, because the swim manufacturers, most of the swim brands, they don't have the hidden elements in them. They're really easy. There's no underwires, there's no stays, there's no hidden bonding, there's no, so if they can make somebody else's swimsuit and it takes them an hour and mine takes 4 hours, they're going to do their swimsuit. So I went through, I can't even tell you how many miles I put in my car, how many different pattern makers, sewers, and also to the quality. Then if I did find someone who could sew it, then the quality wasn't up to snuff. And, it was just one thing after another, and it was really, really difficult. And then I heard about this fair in Las Vegas where they
Yes,
have all
magic.
they
Yes.
have all the resources. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to the resource show and find a resource in China. Everyone kept saying this kind of work, because it's so detailed, needs to be done in China. You got to go to China. Got to go to China. I thought, okay.
Interesting.
So because
nowhere else, no New York, no Chicago,
No,
Florida, no other states that would have this type of.
No, but I couldn't do it there any easier probably. But the way that they manufacture and the resources, because a lot of things we have to order all of our cups from China. We have to do all these things from China, all the hardware, all these things, they're right there in China.
Wow.
So, if you find the right people there and know what they're doing.
And they're so willing to help and do business.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Sadly
Yeah.
enough, I went to the same convention about 3 years ago. It's called Magic. It's huge.
Yeah, I know the magic show.
And if this table were the convention floor, like of where all these vendors are set up, this would be everybody else. This where my computer's sitting, and the rest of the floor is China. It's like it
What?
was so
Yeah.
massive. They were like the biggest presence I've
But
ever
then
seen.
I had to find someone who could do molded cups and who could do structure, and someone who could also do lingerie is really who I found who could do swim also, because they had that technology, the techniques, and the hardware and the know-how to do it. And I found a great company, and they, knock on wood, and they love working with me.
Is that where you just came from a month ago? Last month?
A week ago.
A week ago.
2 weeks. A week.
Were you in Shanghai?
No, I was in Guangzhou.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which is really nice. The factories are beautiful. There's a koi pond and Buddhas and
Oh, nice.
more greenery in there than my backyard practically. You know,
Wow.
it's really lovely and very clean and very nice.
I have a question for you. Since you're exporting from China, correct?
Correct.
Were you able to? There's all these people who want to be American made. Obviously, we want American made
tried.
products. You
I
just said
really
you tried it 10 or 12 times.
Really tried. Yeah.
Okay, you've done that. Now you're going to China to seek help. My concern is the rumor mills about child labor in China. They're 8, 9-year-olds sewing things, making phones for iPhone, Apple phones, and Samsung and everything. That's abusing children who are working for pennies a day in
Sure.
China. Were you able to guarantee that these are not the working conditions
Oh,
that you have?
100%. I took video of the entire place.
Good for you.
The people there, they're all friendly. They're all super nice, adult, grown up. I mean, it's all it's honestly one of the best factories I've been in, better than the U.S., cleaner than the U.S.
They're professionals.
They
just
just
were champs.
Then why is this rumor?
well,
Why are the
because
rumors
this is the factory I'm working in.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not saying that I mean, that is the perception that we have, that it's dirty and
Yeah.
dark and there's
Sweatshops.
kids
Yes.
and it's terrible and nobody gets break. I mean, I was trying to get them to work overtime, and like they asked everyone, do you want to work overtime? Do you want to work overtime? Because I was trying to meet my deadline. They weren't demanding anybody work
weren't
overtime.
forcing
You know what I
it.
mean? There were 2 women who wanted to do it. Okay, cool. You did it. And they clocked in, they clocked out. Their restrooms are beautiful. The kitchen's beautiful. It's nothing like our perception at all. And like I said, literally, it was nicer than any of the places I've been
Wow.
to here, by far.
Sally
And
Struthers, like she probably did a commercial back in the 80s.
No, I
90s,
think it still
and
goes
was
on,
like,
and I really,
You think-
I do think that it still goes on, and that was one of my first motivators to go when I first decided I liked these guys and they
Right.
wanted to work with me. I have to go there and see it
Right.
for myself.
Yeah.
So I go there, and it's not smoke and mirrors. This is what they do. This is
what
their
they do.
factory. This is how it always is.
There's also, I think, compliance companies that you can hire that
Yes,
actually
of course.
monitor
Oh,
like
really?
do the manufacturing of it too. If you can't have your eyes on it,
Yeah.
100% of the time,
Right.
you can hire a compliance company that goes
that
in
makes sure that they are doing whatever you want them to do.
Yeah, and actually, one of the companies that hired a compliance person was there when I was
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
No, it's way on the up and up.
Let's
and,
talk
and,
about another rumor about
Yes.
them dealing with women. Do you feel that the Chinese or the people that you're working with had no issues working with an American woman? Because we hear about Asian influences that they don't really want to work with American women, and in terms of business opportunities, business ventures. Do you think that's been squashed?
Well, I can only speak for my experience so far there, and so far they're very excited to work with me. They I met the owner of the company when I first met them in Las Vegas, and she immediately had a good feeling about me and told their people, I really want to work with this woman. And because the woman who owns the company with her husband, she's so involved in the company, there's a different level of respect. And I come from America, and they're only a U.S. brand. They do other brands for other countries. So there's a different level. But, generally speaking, there is still the same stereotypes and the same stigmas. And unfortunately, it was really difficult when I was trying to make everything here in America, going into these vendors. And this was so disappointing because I went in as Andrea Bernholtz. Nobody off the street, just, they didn't have an appointment with Andrea from Rock and Republic.
Right.
Okay. So I come in.
You were John Smith.
Completely.
Yeah. You were literally me trying to start my own company.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I walk in, and I'm in this one fabric showroom, and I am literally surrounded with fabric everywhere. And I say, and all he does is active and swim. And I say, great, I'm so excited to be here. Let me see your swim fabric. He literally shows me one header of fabric. A header is like a little swatch or sample.
How do you spell
It's
it?
called a header. So it has the name of like, this is swatch. It's got nylon, lycra, whatever, and it's got the fabric on it. And there's one there, and I go, okay, cool. What else? He's like, oh, you want this one? This guy's telling me. I go, I do? Oh my God, thank you for telling me what I want. Oh my God, I'm in a room with thousands of options, but this is the one that I want, right? I was just so appalled, And, I was driving from, more frustrating than even driving to Long Beach. I was driving from Calabasas to Vernon. People would say, oh, your sample's ready. I drive to Vernon. Oh, the sample maker's not even here. The sample's not ready.
Really?
I mean, I was ripping my hair out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I came up against these obstacles that were beyond frustrating. And it was so disheartening not to be able to make everything here. Because Rock and Republic, we made everything here.
Right.
It was American made.
We were, our made in America.
LA could do denim, but not
LA could do denim. And then you call these people and I can do swim, but it's different if you're just doing a lycra triangle than if you're doing something structured. And I wanted to ultimately give my end consumer, I wanted to give women an amazing product, something that was really well put together, well designed. And it's not cheap in China, where I go. This misconception of, oh, everything's cheap and it's dirty and it's the child's, that's why I was so happy to go in the factories and take videos, and they were happy to have me take videos. There was no whispers about me taking any videos there. They were proud of their factory, and they charge more, but I look at it like, well, I can't even get it done here in America.
So it's a fair investment.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
So real quick, because I know you wanted to talk about Coco Chanel real quick, Edward.
Oh yeah.
I as an entrepreneur, I always want to accept opportunities, because opportunities is what made us who we are. You were starting something new. What was your fear in the Swiminista, besides the manufacturers? Did you have an internal emotional fear about this?
Well, I think everyone has the same fear of failure.
That's it. You right on the head, right on the dooley right there.
Yeah.
Same with me.
And I thought, gosh,
Same with me.
But the thing is, it goes back to we know we're going to fail if we never do it.
That's so true.
But it's just so hard to trust. And it's so hard to believe in yourself. And it's so hard to just know everything's going to be okay. It might not be the same story you've written in your head, but it's going to be a good story. And I had a friend of mine who had a vision about my father, and my father came to her. She wasn't even a really good friend. It was a colleague. It was very strange. And she said to me, your father came to me in a dream last night. I don't know why. He was sitting on a motorcycle, and my father used to race motorcycles. And he said, tell Andrea everything's going to be all right. And he goes, and he was yelling at me to tell you. And I remember that sometimes, because everything's always going to be all right. It might not just be how we want it to be, but if we put our heart and soul into everything that we do, and we really listen, and we really are open-minded, I think our chances for success are better. Not everyone wins at the game. I have this really gut feeling, because what I'm making, I'm not doing it. Of course, I want to, obviously support my family and everything and be able to share, but my main objective isn't money for this. My objective is to make women happy and have them wear a bathing suit that they love. And that, I think, then the byproduct from that is financial success. The byproduct from that is, all these other ancillary things that are so wonderful.
Right.
But that's my perspective going at it. And of course we have fears.
Absolutely.
But we have to tell those fears to F off.
How are you keeping positive?
90% of the time I'm positive, but I do have those moments when, I'm busting my hump and I'm doing everything I can and then it still falls apart. I have this internal belief and nobody else is going to believe in me. I mean, yes, my daughter, mommy can do anything, but I mean, it's really as far as really getting it done, really pushing myself. There's nobody, I'm a one-man show. Before, when we started Rockin' Republic, I had a business partner.
Right.
I had Chad by my side too. And so I had other people that I could vent to or bounce things off of, or, hey, you go run and do this, you go run and do that. I mean, I'm at FedEx, I'm at UPS, I'm hand delivering a order here at this place, and then I'm, trying to do a conference call.
You're doing this all by yourself right now, Andrea?
Yeah.
You have no assistants?
I have an assistant who is my childhood friend, who comes in about once a week to help me.
With mailings, with contact emails?
She helps, I have a big stack of, here's all my invoices, here's my fabric, here's my this or that, and she kind of organizes it for me. And then I have subbed out a subcontractor who does my technical drawings.
Okay.
And she does my technical drawings that I send to the factory.
And that's it?
That's it.
You're doing everything else?
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
That's the hustle.
It's really,
the hustle is real.
If you want to just lay in bed and just sit there, really you could, but what is it going to get you? It's not going to get you anywhere.
I would love to watch right now all my Netflix shows. I'm so behind on my Netflix, it's not even funny. This podcast, again, it's a great thing I'm doing. I'm not complaining, but it's a lot of work because it's not just about putting a recording on. I got to get the guests. I got to talk about the content. I got to type up the script. I got to do the newsletter, which I'm behind. I got to work on my blogging, which I'm behind. I got to make sure that we're scheduled for the next 2 or 3 months. All this stuff.
You have to promote
and I got to get marketers. I got to get advertisers,
everything,
sponsors.
And people think,
it just happens.
It's magic.
When I'm online, girl, when it can actually.
Yeah,
we'll talk.
Yeah,
I
would love for
I'm working on
Swiminista to be a sponsor.
My website. I'm working on it right now, so that
I went on it.
Right now, it's just a holding page.
But it has the phrase. Where's the phrase?
It's not what's new in swimwear. It's what's next.
Say it again, please.
It's not what's new in swimwear. It's what's next.
Get it.
And you can sign up on the website now at swiminista.com. And then as soon as we become live, I'll send out notifications.
I'm going to be on that newsletter.
I signed up today.
Did you sign up today?
He did.
Of course I did. Thanks for reminding me. I'll sign up today as well because I want to be in the know.
Yes,
it's
Swiminista.com. Swiminista.com.
Preach.
And you can find an amazing suit that will fit and made with love.
Yay. And made for the average woman, let's be honest.
And to be able to adjust it.
We're not all 98 pounds wet here.
Yeah.
Okay. Chicken orzo soup, burrata caprese, meatball ricotta toast, calamaretti. No, these aren't wigs I'm talking about. These are brand new dishes at Ma's Italian Kitchen, located at 267 North Pass Avenue in Burbank, California. The phone number is at Ma's Italian Kitchen is 818-567-2288. They provide private dining and they also cater private parties. Michel created an amazing menu and I want you to tell him Queen ShanShan sent ya. Hunty! So, Edward, you are dying to ask Andrea this question.
Yes. Okay, so Coco Chanel.
Love her.
Love her. And talk about setting women free. I mean, she set them free from the corset.
Yeah.
She was just like, corset be gone. We're not wearing that anymore.
We're wearing comfortable jersey.
Comfortable clothing. And so, she's probably the most iconic woman designer of all time, would you say?
Yes, without a doubt.
So I pulled up a few quotes of hers, and I just want to see what, a designer has to say and what it means to them. So I want to ask you these quotes mean to you. It says, a girl should be 2 things, classy and fabulous.
Touche. I agree 100%. I think that as long as you always maintain a certain composure and a certain class, then there's a fabulousness about you.
It's timeless too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Classiness has no shelf life.
It's not on trend. Nope. It is what it is.
Correct.
It's always in style.
Correct.
The next quote I found was, in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different.
That applies to everyone and everything. And I look at my clothes in order that way. In order for it to be different, there's a reason to buy it. So in order for you to really maintain yourself in this world, you have to be different.
Right.
You know, if you're just like one after the other, who cares? You're going to blend in. And I always stood out as a kid in the way I thought, the way I dressed. And, you know, a lot of times I would think to myself, oh, I wish I could just fit in, or I wish I could do, but I am who I am, and it makes me different. I'm not college, educated. I may not be that refined or anything, but really at the end of the day, I have my own twist on things. You have your own twist on things and how you do your business, and that's what makes you irreplaceable. Those are the special people that
That's a great
you remember.
take on it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
It's like you stand out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Separates you from the herd.
Without being obnoxious, without doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fabulous. I love it. The other quote I found was, fashion is not something that exists in dresses only. Fashion is in the sky, in the street. Fashion has to do with ideas, the way we live. What is happening?
100%. Fashion is everything. I look at everything. I redecorate everything in my head. I move things around in my head. I put different color groupings together at different places, restaurants, food, any place, anywhere. There's always, it's aesthetics. Mm-hmm. And aesthetics are everywhere, whether how we see them or not. I mean, even landscaping, whatever it is,
right.
In my head, I'm
but as a creative,
things
you're
around.
a creative. We're creatives in this room, and we get motivations from, you're right, from walking down the street, looking at a tree, looking at buildings. You know, when I was in FIDM, we had to, one of the classes I had was the color schemes, mm-hmm. and we had to make up our own colors.
Wow.
It was actually one of my hard classes.
That would be difficult.
That and pattern making was one of my hardest classes.
Pattern making, forget it.
Oh, it was awful. I got a C in that class. It was awful.
Oh my gosh.
But it's all about where the motivations, where is the aesthetics you come from by waking up in the morning. My brother, he's an artist. And he goes on Facebook and tells people what his dreams were the night before. Oh, and he thinks about my brother wants to be the next Walt Disney. So he has the conceptual art technical mind, and so he'll think of a ride, he'll think of a restaurant, he'll think of a theme.
Oh, I love that.
And he writes it down. And ever since we were kids, we always shared our dreams. And people think the word dream is this fake word that doesn't exist. But if we don't seek our dreams, if we don't reach our dreams, if we don't at least aspire to our dreams, why are we even waking up?
You know
from
what?
It?
I'm so glad you're bringing up dreams, because no one talks about dreams anymore.
Mm-hmm. They don't.
You're right about
that.
You're exactly right. And that's the one thing, like they always say, you can't take that away from anybody. You can't take dreams away. You can't take, someone's imagination away. And I love that you're talking about dreams, because everyone somewhere, somehow, however it's painted, does have a dream. They just have to hone in on it. Yeah. I love that your brother has such a strong focus on his dream. He's very lucky.
Oh, since the day he was born, he had a pen and a crayon.
I love that.
Out of the womb, and he will continue to draw. And I encourage that. Our family has always encouraged my brother to seek our dreams. And even my mom and dad, even though we were a middle income family, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, but my parents definitely instilled in us to reach for the highest of heights. And Theron has a huge dream of being a well-known author and a novelist and a conceptual artist, and again, the next Walt Disney. Can you imagine my Theron Land, or whatever you want to call it? Riding his roller coasters and his rides, or eating at his restaurants, whatever. But
everything starts with a dream. Everything starts with a dream, and people forget that.
I had no idea I was going to do a freaking podcast, but I always had a dream to be in front of a crowd. This is my way of doing it. If it is this way, then so be it. Who knows where I'm going to be next year? But I want to say,
look at Wendy Williams. I know you're not the hugest fan of
I'm
the world,
not,
but she started in radio.
She sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And then
look where she is now.
Exactly.
She's worth over a net of $100 million.
Had her own show, or has her own show.
She still has her own show.
And a lot of personal drama, unfortunately. So you never know.
I never know. If this still becomes a little minuscule podcast, and I'm still doing it for 7 years, and me and Edward are in our crutches or wheelchair,
or my walker.
Roll over here!
ShanShan! Come over here!
Your chair is on my cord.
I got my hearing aids, and
What?
we're still talking about Madonna. Madonna's not 80 years old.
We're still talking about Madonna. Madonna. Yeah.
We're gonna get that.
Oh,
we're gonna get to Madonna in a minute because we got to have the Madonna minute. But this is a dream of mine that's fulfilling now, and I'm so glad to have you here, Andrea, Edward here, the broads that are listening. You have been a light in this world.
Oh, thank you so much. Like you said, it's always feels good to hear those things because people don't see the hard work or they don't see the frustrations, and we all have them.
We sure do.
And we all paint prettier pictures on the outside to keep ourselves going. Or
We sure do.
I paint a picture for myself every day just to keep myself going. I dress up. I work at home all day. I dress up to the nines sometimes. I'm a big old turban and some crazy
Do you
outfit.
really?
Oh heck yeah! I have the best time
Yeah.
because I dress for my day. I dress, create my own little vision, create my own little world, and
Keeps you going.
and take it on, keep it going. And I think everyone has to keep going. But I so admire that you travel by yourself. You go on these things. I mean, you don't let that stop you.
I don't.
And I travel alone too. And a lot of people say to me like the same thing that I see in you. Just what are you going to wait for? Why are you going to wait?
Why am I waiting for a companion? Why do I need to wait for a man or a friend to go with me? Egypt is waiting for me. Turkey is looking for me.
We're going to Egypt in 2 years when they finish the new museum.
Oh,
I'm going to Egypt in September.
We're going in September,
Oh
right?
my God, my friends just got back.
I can't wait.
It's absolutely fabulous.
I can't wait.
The world, the best thing is travel, and I love that about you. And I love that you wait for no one. You just go and conquer.
Can't wait for anybody.
And that's how you are in your life, though. Hey,
some people think
things switched in the real estate world. You're still going to work yourself and do your thing.
Again, part of that episode we did last week for the birthday episode, one thing I definitely wanted to convey is perception. And when you are a Black woman, some people think that Black women need to stay in their lane. And what is that lane, though? My mother is from the South, and in her world, she was just basically known to cook, and have babies, like my grandmother. My grandmother had six children, and my mother went to college. My mom went. She was a working woman when she met my dad. In this early 60s.
Yeah, that was unheard
as
of.
a Black woman. Come on.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of, even though me and my mom fight like cats and cats, I'm very inspired by my mother. Believe it or not, I do love my mother very much. She drove a spirit into my heart to always do better for my life. Good. So thank you, Mom, for that. And I want to say thank you, Andrea, for being on the show.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to be here. It was so fun
so lovely having you.
Catch up with everyone and
Real quick,
share some of my stories. Sure.
What is the last thought you want to tell the broads tonight?
That dig deep and believe in yourself, and don't listen to everyone who tells you no. A lot of people say no because they don't want to see you succeed. They want to say no because, or they don't want to see you fail. They say no for all these reasons. And behind every no, there's a yes. If you can't get in through the door, go to the back door. If you can't get in the back door, crawl on the roof and go through the skylight. Okay. Whatever it is to take and do it. Everyone's going to say no. You hear these stories. Katy Perry, everyone said no. She lost her deal, this and that. Did that stop her? No. Anyone who kept going, you guys, just, if you do have your dream and you do have your passion, keep going. And if you don't have a dream or passion yet and you go to find it, talk to people, explore the world. Don't just stay in your own little bubble. There's so much out there in the world that if you open your ears and you open your eyes, you can find things. You have to listen to your soul. And just stay awake, everyone. And I will quote Auntie Mame, that life is a banquet and most poor suckers are starving to death. So don't be one of those poor suckers.
Andrea, thank you.
Thank you.
A word from our sponsors.
Queen ShanShan, you helped me with my life insurance policy, and I really appreciate it. But now I'm going to buy a house, and I want to protect it too. So what should I do?
You need an estate planning attorney.
Oh?
Yes, Michel Castillo. She specializes in estate planning, living trusts, wills, healthcare directives, power of attorney, guardianship nominations, trust administration, probate, and asset protection. You can find her at michellecastillolaw.com or call her directly at 818-384-2686. And remember, tell her Queen ShanShan sent ya.
Hunting.
Andrea, do you love Madonna?
Madonna, Madonna, Madonna.
Twilight.
We have to. Let's be honest. The whole month is going to be chock full of Madonna news because she's got the new album, Madam X. And I'm so bummed, Edward. I missed the video release of her video today. I was working like regular Americans were working.
We're working, but fortunately we have technology and you can
Yes.
pull it up on YouTube.
And it's so funny. I got a YouTube alert today saying Madonna's Medellin video is out. And I'm like, I still haven't seen it.
Oh God.
I've been working. I had to come home and work on the podcast. So I'm looking forward to seeing Madonna's new song. Have you heard her new song?
No, I have
Medellin?
not.
I love it. I listened to it literally. I was on my way to my parents last week. On the car, it was on repeat.
Repeat.
Wow.
And I downloaded the lyrics and I got to see what he was saying in Spanish and what she was saying in Spanish. And it's in my opinion, it's a word. It's a song of remembrance. It's a song of coming back to her roots.
Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It takes you back to La Isla Bonita days.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's got that sound
what
like
you guys
that.
are-
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really good song.
Yeah.
Anyways, Edward wanted to spill some tea. You're always stirring the pot with Madonna.
I am stirring the pot.
And I was grasping my pearls.
Right. Well, I mean, I do love Beyonce. Okay, you know, she's a Texas girl. I'm a Texas girl. I just think that you know, Madonna's older, obviously now, and there's sexism in the world, and there's ageism, and there's she is definitely a victim of that. But Madonna was the first of a lot of things.
Yes.
For women,
Yes.
especially.
Yeah.
She was a trendsetter. She kicked the door in for music for women. She did so many things. She was the mouthpiece in the 80s and 90s for the gay community.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of not a lot of articles lately, but there was an article that I sent to Queen ShanShan last week about the Beyonce ripping Madonna off, and
My computer was almost on fire.
how much how much literally Beyonce has taken
The
from
heresy, the blasphemy.
not just Madonna over the years, but a lot of other artists too. And
Right.
Shannon was like, "We got to talk about this on the show." So I'm like, "Okay, I thought I said my piece last week, but we can always talk
But there's
about
this
it."
article that he sent me that really, Beyonce versus Madonna. And he made some really interesting points about when Madonna had her Super Bowl performance 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
It's not even been 10 yet. It's probably 2011 or 12.
Oh, right.
was that-
And then Beyonce
okay.
copied on.
And then Beyonce
yeah.
had, for her Coachella performance, she had almost the same aesthetics. But this article goes into more shade.
Shady, right? Talk
It was
about
talking about how Beyonce copied J-Lo and from other dresses and events. And I'm like, what?
You guys have to remember, they're hiring the same people.
Oh, yeah, you're right
honey.
about that.
So you have to think
Preach.
about that too. So here's Beyonce, the artist, and she's got a vision of what she wants to create. And then somebody comes in, she hires a creative director and a team of people who maybe that's where they're playing their influence on. And they're painting it in a way for Beyonce. So
Right.
she's
her
not
mom
seeing
is-
it like, I'm going to copy this person. It's
It's just being put upon
Her
them.
mom,
yeah.
her mom is her personal fashion designer and personal stylist. What's her mom's name? Tina Knowles.
Right.
So, and they designed their own fashion
Costumes.
brand a few years ago. So, Tina's kind of her muse in her costumes and everything like that. So, is mom still in the looks?
I don't know.
Still in the looks?
It
but
could
to
be
say that-
influences,
Yeah.
I mean, we all still for Madonna, I guess.
Well,
basically, she's,
Madonna was really groundbreaking, and the fact that as a musician herself, really, she's not an amazing, like her voice. You don't listen to her voice and be like, oh my God, her voice is amazing,
no,
or this
she's
and that.
not a
But
singer.
she has
She's an
really been
entertainer.
talented in putting the business behind music and entertaining and always reinventing herself.
Right.
And I love that about her. But you guys, there's only so much you can do in the world without having to kind of copy everyone.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week.
You know, it just,
Everyone's always influenced by everybody.
yeah.
By somebody you were influenced by.
Yeah, it'd be nice maybe if it wasn't so literal, but I do think, there's so many big production houses that do things, so many big people that do that. So I think that is an ancillary influence that we're not always recognizing. Yes, Beyonce is Beyonce and her vision and this and that, but I think we're giving her and big artists too much credit because they do hire these people to execute
this
things.
is completely true. And I think Haley was on the show that was talking about, she might not even know she's advertising something if she's trying on 90 outfits or like in an hour. She's a model, and she's like, we were talking about Kylie Jenner, I guess it was, that segment about how
Kendall Jenner was in the Pepsi
might not
commercial.
have known about the whole thing because there's just so much coming at you every time.
Yeah.
You might not
And you
even
don't know what they've told her,
Right.
what they're selling her to get her on the show. There's so many other factors that we don't see.
Right.
Because, yes, they're making gazillions of dollars, but they're also pawns in the big corporate games of making money, too.
Of course.
That's true. But what I wanted to say about they called it last year at the Coachella Baychella. Because she took over the 2 weeks of Coachella with her performances. She had, resembles Madonna's Super Bowl experience with the live band and the marching band. But one thing that Madonna cannot speak on is on the Black culture when it comes to Black colleges. And so Beyonce's performance was about also stepping, the whole stepping culture.
Oh, got it.
And so when you look at that video and Beyonce's, doing the steps and doing the chants and everything, that comes from Black colleges. So she was introducing, I'm going to be honest, Coachella's a bunch of white kids, bunch of white people that goes because they can afford a $700 ticket. And so Beyonce is bringing this Black culture to a predominantly white audience. Everybody was blown out of their mind when they saw the show because John Smith doesn't go to an HBC, a historically Black cultured college. Right. They don't know what's going on at in Atlanta.
I grew up in Texas, so like there were Black universities around where I went to school. And it was so amazing to go to these colleges to see the football games because the bands at halftime were would blow your mind.
Really?
Blow your mind. Even the Black fraternities that were on campus, they practiced the step thing. They had the stick. Top hat. It would blow your mind.
That's their initiation.
It was so amazing.
Most of those fraternities, you have to know how to step. And if you don't do it right, you're not into the fraternities. Yeah. So it's a huge cultural background that a lot of people don't know about, and Beyonce brought it to the forefront. So you got to give it to Bay. You got to give it to Bay.
Good on Bay.
Good on Bay. So
I like that.
Hey, real quick, what's your favorite Madonna song?
Oh my God, probably Holiday.
Oh yeah.
It sounds so silly, but it's just come on, let's celebrate.
That's right.
It's a fun song. It's uplifting, and it's like I try to live every day in my head like I'm on holiday.
Right?
Yes. I try to make a fancy breakfast. I try to make, don't just, put a lime slice in your drink. And I sing with my daughter. It's a timeless song. And it was her first breakthrough album. And as we were speaking earlier, when we didn't know what Madonna looked like, we thought she was a Black woman. And then here she just emerges this scrawny little white chick in these clothes. You're like, what is that? It was so cool. And then we were talking how she was on Dick Clark. And she said, he's like, what do you want to do for your future? She says, I'm going to rule the world. I mean, talk about manifestation.
Ballsy.
I mean, super ballsy, but she just had this
she knew.
She just, I'm going to do it.
There's
I'm going to
no
do it.
doubt.
And the thing is, you start believing it, and you start believing it in yourself, and you just start making that momentum. And that's what we have to do, because it's really easy, unfortunately, for us to get the momentum to go backwards and be like, we're failures. I'm never going to do anything. And I'm sure she had those moments, but she was always just pulling through. And I like that she was always pulling through. But Holiday, it's a fun, easy, light song. It's right to where her roots were and her first album. And it's just fun.
That is a great one.
How about you?
my list goes on and on. But
Pick one.
The song with the video with the cowboys. What's
Don't Tell Me?
Don't Tell Me. Don't Tell Me. That's one of my really favorite songs of hers.
That's
it's so,
a really good one.
And it's just a funky. I just remember the video with her on the treadmill.
Yeah.
With a cute two cowboys dancing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she always has a cute cowboy.
Yeah.
What about you?
My favorite Madonna song is from the era of Holiday as well. It's actually, I guess it's a little bit older or newer than Holiday. It's Live to Tell.
Oh,
it's a ballad.
Interesting. Yeah.
I love ballad Madonna. So Live to Tell was, with ShanShan was in the movie.
Yeah.
That was the movie. What was the movie called?
At Close Range.
That's right.
Wow, yeah.
That's right.
So that is just it kind of like sums my life up too. I feel like when I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is kind of like my life. I've lived to tell my story,
That's good.
So yeah, if I run away, it says like, if I ran away, I'd never have the strength to go very far.
Where would I be?
Yeah, so it's just, I never ran away from anything.
It's good.
That's why.
That's a great song.
Yeah, she has a lot of really good songs, but
so anyway,
it's a good song. Well, thanks for sharing, Andrea.
Sure, thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me share in your Madonna Minute.
Of course.
That's the Madonna Minute. Broads, as you know, we love to talk about travel, culture, beauty, and, of course, food. I had the honor and pleasure of interviewing Michel LeChasseur, who is the self-proprietor, owner, and executive chef of Ma's Italian Kitchen. Listen to this great interview I had, and thanks for listening to Abroad. Hi, Michel.
Hi, Shannon.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm thankful and grateful that you're sitting next to me. We've been friends for quite a while.
And it's not take one, it's take two.
This is take 5. All of our interviews are obviously going to be off the cuff, but I wanted to say thank you for letting me be your friend, and thank you for always encouraging me to be an entrepreneur as well, because you are a great leader in that. We have the poker parties here at your house. You've invited me to your wedding, which was phenomenal. 2013, amazing wedding in Palm Springs. You let me actually speak at your wedding. And so we have a nice friendship.
It was 2014.
I thought it was 2013 you got married.
No, September 13, 1914.
1914?
1914. September 13, 2014. I'm not that old.
You are. Oh, you're a vampire. I thought it was 2013 you got married. Oh,
No,
my
14.
goodness gracious. So it's been now 5 years.
We'll be 5 years in September. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was an amazing wedding, amazing weekend.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me be a part of that. Since then, I've always known you as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Because you had a couple of restaurants before I met you. You've been in the restaurant business for how long?
All my life. I think at my first job in a restaurant, I was like 16 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think 15. I was a dishwasher in a restaurant in Montreal, a very high-end French restaurant, and I went to cooking class after that, hotel management and marketing, become a chef in Paris, and I've always been.
You became a chef in Paris?
Yeah, I have a degree and I have a gold medal by l'Académie Cuisine de France. I have one of the highest honor.
Oh my goodness! And so, was that always your dream to be a chef?
No, hotel management was my dream.
Okay.
And this class, you always, every division of an hotel, you need to be trained. And when I went to the kitchen, cooking, Jean-Paul Grapp, the master chef, that year was my teacher. I just been fortunate to and he said, you had a gift.
Is he a famous chef?
He's a famous chef in Canada and France. His name is Jean-Paul Grapp. He took a few years and went to teaching off from his restaurant, and just happened the year I was a student, he ended up being my teacher.
Okay.
And he told me that I should take more class of cooking to catch up, become a chef, because I have a gift. You have a taste for it, and you have something that highly developed sense of smell, taste, and you should become a chef. I never thought become a chef, but and I kept going. Next thing we know, we competition, and we end up in Paris and went to school. I get a semester in Paris and end up with the highest honor. So,
And then after that, what happened?
went to work for hotels, and I always want to move to London, and a company called St. James Club. I didn't speak English.
You didn't speak a word of English.
And I was 20 years old, and I remember all the interview, and the only thing I can say is, yes, of course. Yes, of course. So they say, we like your resume, but go back to Canada and learn English, and we'll have a job for you.
Okay.
And I moved to Toronto, learn English. It's easy. 6 months, I was bilingual. You know, in French, everything has a masculine and feminine, and English
right.
is ishi or it. That's it. So, and I called them, so I'm ready. And next thing we know, it's like we're not moving to London no more. We're opening a hotel in Los Angeles. And we'll give you 2 weeks to think about. I was already packed, so I'm like,
You're done.
London or LA, let's just do it.
Okay.
And next thing I know, I'm moving to Los Angeles and end up here. And after you spend one winter in LA, you're like,
Why
why?
Why am I going anywhere else?
Exactly.
Why am I going to go anywhere else?
And this was 30 years ago.
Okay, so you've been in LA for 30 years.
Did this year, yeah.
So you were still in the hotel business here.
Mm-hmm.
What told you, or what inspired you, or what? By the way, that's Henry walking in the background. You guys are hearing footsteps. That's Henry's dog. What kind of dog is that again?
Is it Chinese Shar-Pei?
A Chinese Shar-Pei, and he's a cute little dog, Henry. So that's the footsteps you hear in the background. And I have a cat in my face right now, and I'm allergic to cats. But
That's
you know
Davis.
what? Hi, Davis. So, anyways, you're in LA. You were the hotel business, and now you wanted to be now in the restaurant business.
Yeah, I fell into the nightclub business first for
Oh.
several years. I had managed and run nightclubs, and biggest nightclub in Los Angeles at that time.
What was it called?
It was called Rage.
Oh!
From 1991, and I took
In
over.
real?
And it was the number one club in United States
outta
at one
here.
point. I was going to, and I was running it. It was the Abbey of his day. So what the Abbey is right now,
Yep.
back those days when I was running it, Rage was the day.
Abby is the bomb right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was what the Abbey is popular right now. You compare, and my day in 1991 when I took over the club, I was running the largest gay nightclub
In Los Angeles.
in LA. But running nightclub, having those after hours, and it took a toll on my
Sure.
on my life, and it's really, really difficult to run such a busy nightclub. So
Because you're working you're going to bed at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
I will go. I'll get home around 4 a.m. and I will be back at work at 11 a.m.
Oh, hell no.
So did it for 7 years, and I left all that money behind and all that, and opened a restaurant on Melrose. I'm like, I want to go back to what I know and what I love to do. So it's not making enough, spending my amount of money, but I wanted to do something that it was good for me.
Were you the general manager at Rage?
Yep.
So you made...
GM, and I own 5 nights
Wow.
in the club. So I'm the one who started the first Latino club in West Hollywood, because back then the Latino will not cross usually La Brea. All the Latino gay club were more east.
Why?
I don't know. We were the first one who actually did the first, and we started in West Hollywood, the flying DJ from around the world. Piril Roffer was a huge DJ, unfortunately passed away, but his first club was with us at Stereo. We had the first after hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the days, and after that, left all that behind and opened the Shed on Melrose.
Okay. So, and what was that restaurant about?
It was an American with a bit of Asian fusion to it. It's a French Asian fusion. We did on Melrose. It was actually a restaurant called Luke's now. It was very famous. Susan Caroline. They're after me for five months, I think. They're just keep writing me an offer. And we run this restaurant for 5 years, very successful. People still talk about it when I go to work. Most of the people now, we used to go to my restaurant, they're all retired in Palm Springs. So when we go to Palm Springs, some restaurant I go, and I have to say hello to every table before I sit, because that's what I used to do.
Yeah, and they wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
They knew you. Cut to today. I mean, you, in a previous interview, you said you had 40 concepts, 45 concepts?
48.
48 concepts that you've tried.
No, it's all 48 restaurant. With this one I have right now with Italian, I have several Italian restaurant. I did French restaurant. I did as a consultant.
Okay.
So I had a consulting firm, and for 4 years working in the Milliman with Westfield and all their high-end dining.
Okay.
Because you have food court and dining terrace.
Okay.
So I transformed food courts or dining couch with real silverware. So the first one we did in 2005 was Century City. And after that, they gave me the contract to do all the West Coast. So, and that's why I did so many restaurants in so short period of time.
Oh, so those are the concepts you're talking about, different concepts for different companies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I misinterpreted you. I thought you had personally.
I will build them, design them, build them, and after that, it's like a key business. So like the people come in who bought this restaurant or create or wanted this restaurant, so I will do the whole setup, and after that train them, and they're just in the key, and the restaurant is ready to go.
Okay. In the history of, I've known you though. You've had a Mexican restaurant, you've had a hamburger restaurant, you've had sort of a couple of cafes as well,
yeah.
right? And now you have this amazing new restaurant that's in Burbank called Ma's Italian Kitchen. Why Italian food, Michel?
Well, grandmother's Italian, so I just go back to my roots. And as a French chef, I go back to what I know best. It's so funny. We grow up, I'm 27% Italian, and it's so funny. It's just I know as I'm a French chef, and I'll do Italian food with a French twist, especially my dessert. But I still, I don't know. I feel comfortable with Italian food. It makes me happy.
Well, it makes a lot of people happy because we love your Italian food. Because again, you make it for our poker parties. You made it for my birthday party. You made it for other events and great stuff that we know with friends. Yeah, I would say Italian food is your MO for sure.
Yeah, French food. I do French food on a high end, 6 to 12 course meal when I do French food. But Italian is a more comfort and large portion, and
it is.
Yeah,
it is. Now, Ma's Italian Kitchen is in Burbank. Why Burbank?
Well, Burbank because we have some great connection in the movie industry and TV industry, and some to Universal, to Warner Brothers, and Disney. So we make a few phone calls, and they're like, definitely, we love your food. People have been following me for years over my career, or very good fans of mine, and fans of my food, and they say, no problem. If you had something in Burbank, we'll give you some catering work. And we're like, we find a kitchen, we find this little restaurant. It was nothing in hiding corner of a parking lot from a large Vaughn's, in Burbank. And we're hiding, talking in the corner, and the restaurant was kind of ugly. But we're like, okay, there was a large kitchen. And so I'm like, okay, I really want the rent. If the front of the house break even, I was not really worried about it. I didn't spend the money on rent, updating the restaurant. But, and we started doing catering. And after 2 months, we saw a weird swish. Next thing we know, on a Friday night, we have 30 people outside with an hour and a half waiting.
What?
And we're like, where all these people come from? We never advertised, and it's just the word of mouth of the Burbank neighborhood to look like who embraced us. And they said, we need a good Italian neighborhood restaurant. It was, amazing food. And it's so funny. We never advertised. Next thing we know, we had an amazing waiting list. And so I had to put a reservation book in.
Wow.
So I started with Open Table. And next thing we know, we're like, okay, so I had to refocus. So I shut it down. I tried to shut down for 7 days, 18 hours a day, try to renovate it, build a new bar, new floors, and update the restaurant to more, a bistro.
It's beautiful.
Easy, clean.
It is. Very simplistic.
Simplest, so that's what we wanted the look. And we did in 9 days and touched some wood since. It's been fantastic.
It has been fantastic. I like that little eatery outside, the little eating
patio.
area. Very pretty. When you go in there, when I've gone in there the last time I was there, your staff is very. You said about being comforted. The two staff that I was there and they were serving me drinks, very nice.
Yeah.
And we were just talking off the mic a few minutes ago how it's hard to get workers these days. And you pointed out something that my jaw was dropped. I had no idea that in this market that it's hard to get a line cook now. It took you 3 months to find a qualified line cook for your restaurant. Now, me as a consumer, just a customer, I'm thinking there's people looking for jobs all day long, and people are having a hard time. It is the other way around. Now, restaurateurs, employers are having a hard time finding qualified people. And in the industry that you're in, the restaurant industry, why is it even harder now, Michel?
Well, it's got a few facts. We're lucky that we're in a town with actors. So the front of the house, everybody wants to be a server and an actor. So, and I'm very fortunate I have a great team, super friendly. It took me a while to get my team correct together, but that's why our reputation, I always want to do a very friendly, you walk in, you feel like at home and we know your name. And it's like that whole, small restaurant vibe. That's what I wanted to create. Back of the house, to have a good synchronized with all the staff together, work well, and it's hard to find, especially now with the weed industry, who really cut into the restaurant business, because
the weed industry is cutting into
the
weed
industry
business.
And also the lack of new immigrants who come into state, across the border, who are usually the hardest worker in the kitchen. It's a hard job, and they're willing to learn a new trade. And it's so funny that right now with the weed industry cutting the butts and all that, they pay cash the same amount as a line cook. So that's why it took, and they love people with a scissors or knife skills, so to help them to do. And this industry boom in California, it's legal.
It's legal, yeah.
So it just, and also all those people all go work for the weed industry.
I had no idea that the weed industry needed qualified cutters, qualified people to cut the. I don't smoke weed and I don't smoke pot, but I didn't know it was such an intricate
prep,
prep and cooking the pot.
Well, they do cookies, they do
the
chocolate, edibles, and all those are the skill
of
a cook.
Oh my God! I would never even think that's right, because they're making candies and cookies and cupcakes and chocolate bars, and you're right.
So it's so funny, and and this industry is also pay cash only, and so it's, so it makes us, it's really difficult. So it took me 3.5 months to find one line cook.
Wow. And so you have a sous chef, right?
Yeah, I have a kitchen manager, Jonathan,
okay.
And after that I have couple of guys under him, and so I have an amazing kitchen. I'm very happy the way everything runs now.
Good, but it's hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
As a restaurateur, as a manager, as an owner of the restaurant, again, as a customer, I would never think it would be hard for you to find help, because I think everyone's looking for a job, or especially in the restaurant industry. But it has definitely changed.
If you go on Craigslist right now, I bet you put line cook and just Burbank, and you will have 3 pages of restaurants people looking for a line cook.
And not the other way around. Not people looking for work. These are people looking for workers.
Yes.
That's crazy. What a change.
Yeah, it is, and it is a hard industry, and and all the cooking school closing in the last several years. We had all the trade school of cooking. 3 closed in a LA area.
Wow.
So, and we had amazing Cordon Bleu, and Hollywood also shut down. So, so less training school,
less qualified people to cook.
Exactly. So it's a combination of everything together will make very, very difficult in LA right now to actually find a quality line cook.
Do you see a slowing down of new restaurants then because of this situation? Of new restaurants popping up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe a resurgence of the existing restaurants that we have in Los Angeles. People are, that's a good point. Because of what you do in your history, Michel, it forces you now to become more creative in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Case in point, you have a brand new brunch menu that you want to introduce to Mazatine kitchens, hopefully in May or June. Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
Well, a new brunch menu right now, we want to do limited items with mimosas. And, we have a great breakfast place in the same complex where we are. And, listen, by 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, Sunday is an hour and 45 minutes wait.
What?
So it's called BB's. So I'm like, you know what? If I can get, maybe they don't serve liquor. So I'm like, maybe.
Hello?
Let me do an Italian style brunch, and with stuffed French toast and, casserole. Cinnabons, and it's a few items. We'll do 12 to 14 items on the menu with mimosas, and so we'll try that. But again, the chef, you need a breakfast chef, so someone who know how to make eggs and all that. Unfortunately, my guys are Italian, cooks, so they just cook, they're very good at make you, a ravioli, with masala sauce, chicken piccata and all that. But breakfast is a whole other, animal. So I had find someone, the restaurant is about to close, but of course, he gets several offers, and, he decided now to take a month off.
Because he's getting all these several offers, and so he thinks he's extendable. Well, yeah.
So right now he decided to take a month off and revisit.
Little cocky.
Exactly, and revisit the whole concept. So right now I had to put a hold on the brunch right now. The menu's done. We're ready to go, but I need to find a qualified
breakfast cook.
Breakfast cook.
Yeah.
And also are very, very hard to find.
And how are you advertising? Are you going on Craigslist?
We got an Indeed, Craigslist, Hire. So we have, and also as a Latino website on Facebook for workers, and also we advertise. We find salt, so we have also La Opinion. So we have, I think, 5 different ways to look for workers.
Oh my goodness! And it's been a challenge.
Yeah, I think this past line cooked me 3.5 months. I calculated I spent over $900 in different website and to advertise to find line cooks. Cost me
unbelievable.
$900 to be able to.
And you never thought in a million years you spend $900 for advertising for a line cook.
Yeah.
Because they were always out the door. There was a line out the door for line cooks.
Today's I had so many restaurants. People knock on my door constantly to looking for work. I'm a line cook, and I always had at least 10 resume ready to go as a backup to find staff. And now it's crazy.
That's insane.
Yep.
So there's some pros and cons to that, I guess. I guess it's the different perspective that you
and
look
now
at it.
you have to step up a little bit to take care of them.
You do.
Yeah. I treat them very well. The vacation pays. I just offer them Affleck. It's just like you have to to treat your staff and the
you
bonus
have to become
and the bonus schedule
Absolutely.
every month to make sure that everybody's
Absolutely.
happy. So
Absolutely. I do benefits. I do insurance, and so when I offer my clients different packages, I say, look, if you want to keep quality employees, you got to have a quality employee benefits package.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, you want to keep the good workers that you have now.
Yep.
But you got to pay and you got to offer them some perks.
Yeah.
So we are definitely looking forward to the brunch menu. Hey, if it's a better delay, it's going to be better food, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, with that being said, I wanted to introduce the broads to a special promotion that we want to do. So once the menu is out there and marketed and everything, I definitely want to have the broads win some sort of like a $50 or $60, whatever gift card to your brunch menu.
Yep.
Would that be cool?
Yeah, we'll do $50 gift card for brunch for the first 4 Sunday, Saturday of when we started. So we have 4 in a row, so a total of $200.
Right on.
And stay tuned, Shannon will give you the question of the day.
Once the menu is official, we'll definitely make that giveaway official as well.
Yes.
Michel, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. Congratulations on everything you do. And you will be expecting me again at Ma's Italian Kitchen. And also, thank you for being a valued sponsor and advertiser for the show.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
I love supporting my businesswoman.
Yay! Thanks, babe. Broads, thank you for listening and continuing to subscribe to this podcast. I want to thank Andrea. Andrea, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. Thank you so much. I loved being here.
Yay! You've been a great co-host.
Oh, really? Okay, thank you.
Fantastic, actually.
Fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Up there, I could probably say this off mic, but I'm going to say it on mic. Probably the best one yet. I'm going to say it ASMR style.
Every show's the best one.
I just slipped him $20 to say that, people.
Now, your voice is butter, too. Just like,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
It was so informative. And I want to say thank you for being just a beacon of light for future fashion entrepreneurs, but just a future entrepreneur, period.
Thank you.
You are a beacon of light, so I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
I'm a future Swiminista.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that.
I'm gonna wear a
Oh, you're going to wear a onesie?
Sure, why
You're
not?
modeling that.
Why not?
Okay, Brad, you guys heard that on the recording. We're going to get Edward.
I was like, no, I don't want that.
We're gonna have to do that live. The next when we get him a suit, we'll do it
Right?
live on Facebook.
You promised it.
I'll need the guy from what's the guy's name from
yeah.
RuPaul's Drag Race? The Tuck.
Trinity the
Trinity the
Tuck.
Tuck. I have to have him come on and tuck everything in.
Well, maybe Trinity could be our guest. Hey, Trinity, are you listening? Please join us next week as our next guest co-host will be Billy Francesca. He's a comedian, he's a DJ, he's an MC, he's a fancy lady, and he drinks like a fish. Billy Francesca will have you rolling on the floor. So stay tuned to that episode. I'm Queen ShanShan, and thank you for listening to Abroad.